Keep it locked on 1010 Wins. The news is always changing, so make sure you keep it on 1010 Wins to keep up with your world.
The News Watch never stops. This is 1010 Wins. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good evening, I'm Derek Dennis with breaking news here on 1010 Wins.
Breaking news now on 1010 Wins.
Breaking news into the 1010 Wins newsroom. The violent and deadly ambush on two NYPD officers in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. The gunman opening fire on their patrol car this afternoon before committing suicide. We'll go to the scene in Bed-Stuy with our Gary Baumgarten. He has new information. We're also at Woodhull Hospital where the officers were rushed in a desperate effort to save their lives. Our Darius Razius has the latest from there. And we have reaction from PBA President Pat Lynch, who just spoke to reporters, leading the NYPD rank and file in mourning. Our Sonia Rincon will have the latest from there. Continuing our breaking news coverage of the shooting of two NYPD officers ambushed in a patrol car in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. We have 1010 Wins team coverage. Let's go to 1010 Wins reporter Sonia Rincon, who's with PBA President Pat Lynch, who just spoke to reporters. He's leading the NYPD rank and file in mourning tonight. She joins us live.
Well, one person who was notably absent from the mayor and police commissioner's press conference at Woodhull Hospital, someone you might expect to see with them after a tragedy like this, was the head of the Patrolmen's Benevolent Association, Pat Lynch, the head of the officers' union. In fact, he reportedly turned his back on the mayor when the mayor made his remarks, and Lynch had his own remarks for reporters outside the hospital just a short time ago. Moments after the bodies of the two murdered officers were removed from the hospital, he said, "The mourning has begun." He said this was a cold-blooded assassination like we haven't seen before. And he said officers for generations to come will know the names of the men we lost tonight. But he also said there is blood on many hands, from those who incited violence under the guise of protest all the way to the mayor's office at City Hall. Then he said when these funerals are over, we will raise our heads, and those who allowed this to go on will be held accountable. Some very tense comments from the Patrolmen's Benevolent Association president tonight. Sonia Rincon, 1010 Wins live at Woodhull Hospital.
And there is still a scene where these officers were shot in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, along Myrtle Avenue. Our Gary Baumgarten has been there all day.
Two cops, Rafael Ramos and Wei Jian Lu, sitting in their car at the corner of Tompkins and Myrtle, when a man walked up and shot them both. Execution style is how one officer describes it, before he reportedly ran down into a subway station where he turned the gun on himself. When I got here, he was being taken to a waiting ambulance, medics performing CPR on him. Shaniqua Purvis is with the Bed-Stuy group Save Our Streets. She's shaken over this shooting.
With the holidays coming up right now, if you mad at somebody, be mad at the person that you need to be mad at. Don't take two innocent people from their families. Don't do that. I don't think that's right. I don't condone this at all.
Purvis has been active in promoting police-community relations here. She says this could set those relations back substantially. The suspect, Ishmael Brinsley, last known address Atlanta, but with ties to Brooklyn, had Police Commissioner Bratton says, shot his girlfriend in Baltimore, then posted on social media anti-police comments before coming here, and Bratton and Mayor de Blasio say assassinated the two officers. Gary Baumgarten, 1010 Wins in Bed-Stuy.
And we have reaction tonight from the mayor of the city of Baltimore, where suspect Ishmael Brinsley committed that other heinous crime earlier today, the shooting and injuring of his girlfriend. Mayor Stephanie Rawlins Blake called the shooting of the two NYPD officers an act of cowardice to target law enforcement in such a shameful way. She called for everyone to speak out against violence of any kind. New York City and state flags will be lowered to half-staff from now until the interment of the two officers. And those officers, Wenjin Liu and Rafael Ramos, they died at Woodhull Hospital. Mayor Bill de Blasio spoke tonight along with Police Commissioner Bratton. The mayor says these shootings are an example of how the public can help police by alerting officers of any threats or sinister behavior before it happens.
I don't think it's a time for politics or political analysis. It's a time to think about families that just lost their father, their husband, their son.
Mayor Bill de Blasio there. Keep it locked on 1010 Wins and our website, 1010wins.com, for the latest on this developing story. Good evening. I'm Gene Michaels. Our top story, 2 NYPD officers ambushed and shot to death as they sat in a patrol car in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. 1010 Wins newsman Darius Radzius is reporting live from Woodhill Hospital. That's where they were rushed to. Unfortunately, there was nothing to be done.
Well, 2 police officers' bodies are no longer here at the hospital. They were taken away about 20 minutes ago. Where they were taken, we just don't know. But earlier at a press conference, Mayor de Blasio and Police Commissioner Bill Bragg called the shooting of the 2 police officers in assassination. The 2 officers they identified as Rafael Ramos and Weijin Liu, shot and killed without provocation and without warning. Police say 28-year-old Ismail Brinsley walked up to the passenger side window of the police car at around 2:47 and shot the officers to death. Brinsley then fled to a nearby G train subway station where he shot and killed himself on the platform. Now, the officers were taken to Woodhull Hospital where they were pronounced dead. And when Mayor Bill de Blasio arrived, police officers turned their backs, still upset with his recent reaction to the Eric Gardner case. Now, police say Brinsley also shot and injured his girlfriend in Baltimore earlier this afternoon. Shot and injured his girlfriend earlier this morning before he came up to New York City, and Baltimore police sent a fax warning to NYPD about Brinsley, but that wasn't until 2 minutes before the shooting. Darius Radzius, 1010 Wins live at Woodhull Hospital.
1010 Wins reporter Gary Baumgarten was one of the first reporters on the scene of the shooting of those 2 NYPD officers in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn this afternoon, and he wound up spending most of his day right there.
Officers Rafael Ramos and Weijin Liu were in their patrol car at their post outside the Tompkins homes here because the community had requested additional police presence due to a spike in crime, sent here from another precinct to help out doing their jobs when Ismail Brinsley came up and, to use the word uttered by both Police Commissioner Bratton and Mayor de Blasio, assassinated the officers. Community advocate Tony Herbert says while this may have had nothing to do with police-community relations issues here or elsewhere in the nation, the timing makes this tragedy all the more disconcerting.
You know, this is a tragedy for everybody involved. You're here in New York City. This is something we didn't need to take place. It's unfortunate that it happened in this time frame, given the tensions that are existing. But I want to be very clear about this. Whomever these shooters are not representative of the African-American community. They're not representative of those that actually are peacefully protesting with regards to the issues that they have with police brutality.
Herbert and other activists out here to ensure that things remain calm between community and cops. While Brinsley, who shot himself in the head in the nearby G subway station, did have Brooklyn ties. His last known address was Atlanta, and he was wanted for the shooting of his girlfriend in Baltimore. Gary Baumgarten, 1010 Wins, Bed-Stuy.
Now, there's a lot of reaction tonight to the cold-blooded killing of those 2 officers. The Reverend Al Sharpton called the execution-style killing reprehensible. Congressman Peter King says the senseless shooting is a vivid reminder of how dangerous a cop's job really is. Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams, he's a retired police officer himself with 22 years on the force, says he was horrified and angered by today's senseless shootings.
We believe this senseless assassination should call us all to unite together to bring peace in our city.
Governor Andrew Cuomo issued this statement this evening. Tonight, the thoughts and prayers of all New Yorkers are with the family and friends of New York City police officers Weijin Liu and Rafael Ramos, who were assassinated in the line of duty. This deplorable act of violence is the opposite of what New York is and what New Yorkers believe in. These brave officers, along with more than 34,000 other uniformed men and women of the New York City Police Department, put their lives on the line every day to keep our community safe. They run towards danger when all of our instincts tell us to run away. Tonight, we all come together to mourn the loss of these brave souls.
Channel 7 Eyewitness News. Today, 2 of New York's finest were shot and killed with no warning
no provocation. They were quite simply assassinated.
Killed in the line of duty, 2 NYPD officers ambushed and executed in cold blood. Tonight, a shocked department pays its respects to a pair of heroes.
Our city is in mourning. Our hearts are heavy. We lost 2 good men who devoted their lives to protecting all of us.
Hello, everyone. I'm Joe Torres.
And I'm Lauren Glassberg in for Sandra Bookman. We are learning a lot more about the suspect and the victims in today's shooting. Tonight, a somber salute outside Woodhull Hospital in Brooklyn as police pay tribute to the 2 fellow officers killed in an ambush.
The officers who were killed, Rafael Ramos, he is 40 years old and was married with a 13-year-old son. He had been on the job since 2012. Officer Wayne Jin Liu was a 7-year veteran, and he just got married 2 months ago.
Also new tonight, we are getting our first look at the suspected gunman, 28-year-old Ismail Brinsley. He posted anti-police statements online, and he's accused of shooting his former girlfriend this morning in Baltimore before coming to New York City. We also learned tonight that Baltimore area officials sent a warning to the NYPD, which was received right around the time of the shooting.
We have several reports tonight, and we want to begin our coverage with eyewitness.
His life. Bed-Stuy residents we spoke with, even those who have been critical of police in recent weeks, said they were horrified.
I'm appalled, I'm disgusted, because at the end of the day, it has to show some type of humanity.
Now police are looking into whether Brinsley did this out of anti-police hate. They're investigating a photo he may have posted on Instagram earlier in the day. It shows a gun with the text, quote, "I'm putting wings on pigs today. They take one of ours, let's take 2 of theirs." He references Eric Garner and Michael Brown, adding, quote, "This may be my final post."
If you know a bad cop and you're mad at that bad cop, do the community review, the civilian complaint review board. Don't go kill people. Those you don't know if they were good or bad. You don't know them.
Commissioner Bratton told us about the 2 officers after meeting with their families.
One officer only married Officer Liu 2 months ago. The other officer, Officer Ramos, was school safety officer for many years before finally fulfilling his dream to become a New York City police officer 3 years ago.
We asked City Council member Robert Cornegy how the community moves forward from this tragedy. He said, quote, "Honestly, I have no idea."
People are frustrated with the results of Staten Island and of Garner. People are frustrated with all of these things that have happened, but I don't think anyone that I know in this community would agree with taking the life of an officer.
And some city leaders told me they're very worried about what happens next. They felt like some real progress was being made in police-community relations over the last few weeks, and now at this point, they say this tragedy couldn't have happened at a worse time. We're live in the Bed-Stuy section. Michael George, News 4 New York.
To change everything, Michael, thank you so much. Well, tonight, thousands of men and women in blue gave one.
On the platform of the G train, earlier in the day, he had put this photo on Instagram with a post that read, "I'm putting wings on pigs. They take one of ours, we take 2 of theirs," with a hashtag, "shoot the police." The weapon recovered at the scene was described as a silver handgun.
We have 2 families that's missing somebody for the holidays. Regardless of what, where's your humanity?
There was mounting evidence that the suspect had issues with the police for some time.
We have never and never will forget that mission. We will never forget the 2 young men who lost their lives today.
Commissioner Bratton clearly shaken by today's shooting. He met with the families of the victims. He prayed with the families of the victims, and he later said that the NYPD got a message from the Baltimore police about 2:30 this afternoon that there could be an incident involving police today. That was just minutes before the 2 police officers were killed. Reporting live from Bed-Stuy, Jim Dolan, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Jim, thank you. Both officers were also husbands. One
Self is to blame for the officers' murders.
That blood on the hands starts on the steps of City Hall in the office of the mayor.
The political sparring stemming from the PBA's contention, de Blasio essentially threw NYPD officers under the bus in his apparent support of protesters following the Eric Garner grand jury decision. Just yesterday, Mayor de Blasio met with protest organizers, a move the PBA took as another slap in the face, especially in light of last week's assault on officers by protesters on the Brooklyn Bridge.
Those that incited violence on the street under the guise of protest, that tried to tear down what New York City police officers did every day. We tried to warn, it must not go on, it cannot be tolerated.
And the mayor put out a response to the PBA president's statement tonight saying it's unfortunate that in a time of great tragedy, some would resort to irresponsible, overheated rhetoric that angers and divides people. And Al Sharpton of the National Action Network also put out a statement basically saying that he nor his organization never encouraged violence, and he actually plans to have a prayer breakfast tomorrow with the widow of Eric Garner. We're live in Bed-Stuy tonight. Checky Beckford, News 4 New York.
All right, Checky, thank you so much.